guys, it's Nancy with Nancy's Nibbles of Life, here to bring you another Simply 5 recipe. So if you're new here, welcome to my channel. If you're just stopping by, why don't you please consider subscribing? Again, I'm Nancy and I am on a weight loss journey with the WW food plan. I'm on the blue plan, and right now I'm cooking my way through the Simply 5 cookbook. So I am excited to bring you another recipe, and today's recipe involves cheese. Who does not like cheese? I love cheese. And the recipe calls for one of my favorite cheeses, which is Gruyere. So I'm excited to bring you the recipe. So let's get into it. So as I mentioned, I'm cooking my way through the Simply 5 cookbook, and today's recipe is a Gruyere and asparagus frittata. Doesn't that sound good? Here's the picture. You know, I love a frittata. It's one of these things where it's pretty simple to make, but it has kind of a fancy pants kind of presentation, because it is cooked in the skillet and it comes off in a slice and it just looks so pretty. You could plate it really nicely. And if I were having a girls' day brunch at home, this is something that I would serve to my girls, and I know that they would love it, with a little bit of champagne or a mimosa. So let's get into the ingredients of the frittata, because I think it's going to be really yummy. So again, it's a Gruyere and asparagus frittata. This recipe serves 4. I'm going to use 4 eggs, even though the recipe calls for 5, because honestly, I'll probably have some today, and then we'll save a couple of servings for breakfast or even lunch throughout the rest of this week. So the recipe calls for 2 teaspoons of olive oil, 10 asparagus spears trimmed and cut in 1-inch pieces, some minced shallot, the eggs that I mentioned, a little bit of water, some salt and pepper, and then of course that wonderful Gruyere cheese. So let me read to you the description of the recipe. Buttery, nutty Gruyere is a perfect partner for the asparagus in this elegant yet easy frittata. This delectable cheese gets its name from the Valley of Switzerland. So that's about the Gruyere. And again, the recipe serves 4. And the points for this recipe are 5 for the green plan, 3 for the blue plan, and also 3 for the purple plan. So the points come from essentially the olive oil and the cheese, because we know that eggs are 0 points on the Weight Watcher blue plan. So let's get into it. In addition to this yummy frittata today, I have a little treat. I'm going to be making some candied bacon. So that's right, candied bacon on the WW plan. Now this is not a recipe that's in the Simply 5 cookbook. It's actually kind of something that I thought of on my own, and we're going to try it out here today. So what I have is some bacon in my oven. It's cooking now on a rack, and then we're going to candy it with some Splenda. And I'll show you how I do that in a little bit. But right now, let's cut up this beautiful shallot that I have for the recipe. I have some of this beautiful asparagus that we're going to need. And of course, it wouldn't be a Simply 5 recipe video with me without a little something different. So I'm going to actually add some beautiful leeks to my frittata, because leeks are so yummy, just a very delicate onion type taste. They're beautiful because they come out in these beautiful, gorgeous rings. And I thought it would be a really nice accompaniment to those asparagus. So let's get into chopping these veggies, and then we'll move on to the next step. now that I have my asparagus tips chopped, I cut some of that beautiful shallot, you saw that, and some of those wonderful leeks. Now that I have those chopped, the next step is to saute those in my skillet. So let's move over to the stove and get that done. I'll bring you with me. Okay, moving right along. Meanwhile, in a medium bowl, beat the eggs. So again, I'm going to use 4 eggs instead of 5. Since eggs are 0, doesn't really matter, but I'm going to use 4 just because that's kind of the size that I want to keep my frittata. So beat eggs, add your salt and your water and your pepper, and then stir in that Gruyere cheese. And then we're going to pour the egg mixture over the asparagus, and we're going to stir it gently. And then it says to cover and let cook until the eggs have set. Now, I got to tell you, I've not done my frittatas in the past that way. What I've done, of course, is add the eggs to the warm skillet, covered it, and then put it in the oven and let it set that way. And because I'm used to doing it that way, that's what I'm going to continue to do. Now, if you're more experienced cooking than I am and you think you're just setting the eggs, you're just going to cover them and let them cook, then by all means go for it. But I know what I'm comfortable with, so I'll show you the way that I do it. I'm just going to stick it in the oven and let the eggs finish cooking that way. So let's follow up on the next step, and then we'll move to that candied bacon. guys, so you saw me throw that frittata in the oven, so I'm gonna leave it in there, and the instructions say to that it should set in about 5 minutes, but because I placed my frittata in the oven to cook rather than sit on the stovetop, I'm gonna check it in 5 minutes, and if it doesn't look good, still a little loose, I'll leave it in there for a little longer. And my oven is at 400, so the eggs will probably cook pretty fast. Okay, you also saw me pull out that yummy bacon. If you've watched maybe a past video or two of mine, you'll know that I have been loving this Trader Joe's bacon. It is a Black Forest bacon, which just means that it's probably smoked a little longer. It's a little darker than your average colored piece of bacon because of the smoke, but it is just so yummy, and I've been really loving it. And so it kind of got me to thinking, how can I make this bacon even better? And so I think I've come up with a couple of ways to do that. The first is, of course, like I mentioned, it's, well, I guess the only way, because it's already so good. So to candy the bacon, what I've decided to do is use a little Splenda. Oh, that's my oven changing temperatures. I've used a little Splenda, and I'm also using some of this Splenda brown sugar mix. I don't know if you've seen this. I'm sure that you bakers have probably seen this in your grocery store, but I'm using 1.5 teaspoons of regular Splenda, 1.5 teaspoons of this brown sugar blend, which comes to 2 points. And I'm also using some of this Tirani caramel flavoring that's sugar-free that I found in the grocery store and that I've been using in my coffee. And I thought, you know, this would probably taste really well over that bacon. So I just have my mixture of sugars, the brown sugar and the white Splenda sugar. I'm going to add a drop or two of this into this mix and then sprinkle it over that bacon. I par-cooked that bacon in the oven a little bit because if you put these sugars on top of a raw bacon or a bacon that needs to cook all the way through, it would probably burn. So I cooked the bacon well enough, and then the last few minutes of the cooking, we're going to sprinkle these sugars on and see how well we do. Now remember, I've never done this before, so we're experimenting together for the first time. But how awesome would it be to have a Weight Watcher friendly candied bacon? Okay, here we go. Let's try this. I threw that bacon in the oven. As you saw, it was pretty simple. I just used a brush to get the wet mixture over that bacon so that it would candy and cook a little longer. So guys, we're almost home. We're just waiting for this frittata to get out of the oven, get that bacon to crisp up, and then we're on to the taste test. So, I'll be right back. frittata is out of the oven and has cooled a little bit. That bacon is out of the oven. It's also cooling. That sugar gets really hot, so you have to be careful. But once it cools, it kind of hardens on top, and that's how you get the candied effect. So let's dig into this asparagus Gruyere frittata and candied bacon. Okay guys, time for the taste test. I'm so excited. I love Gruyere cheese. It's just like the description says. It's a nutty, tangy cheese, and it probably would work so well in this frittata with those leeks and asparagus. I also have my candied bacon here. It's gotten nice and crispy. So I'm gonna try this now and let you know what I think. Give me a piece with everything on it, the asparagus and the leeks. Mmm. Mmm. So good. And it just looks so elegant. Try another bite with a nice piece of that asparagus and the leeks. Mmm. And of course, I can't forget the candied bacon. Look at that bacon. So yummy. 2 points per slice for candied bacon. Mmm. Man, that's good. Mmm. 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 You know what? Your kids would love that. Your adult kids would love that. Anybody would love candied bacon. And like I said, you know, this is a great recipe for maybe a girls' day brunch. I would totally put this frittata on the table with that candied bacon and again some yummy mimosas. And remember that the points mainly came from the oil and the cheese in the frittata. So let's go back over the point values. 5 points for the green plan, 3 points for the blue plan, and also 3 points for the purple plan. So this was a good one today, and I'm so happy to bring it to you. So it is again the Gruyere and asparagus frittata. Thank you so much for rolling with me today on another Simply 5 recipe. Any bacon in my teeth? Hope not. But I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you again. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button and leave me a comment so I can know what you think of today's Simply 5 recipe. Okay, see you on the next one. Bye!